Guys, what's up? For the Morning Edge, I am your host, Melissa, and I am joined by Matt and Ben. Guys, happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. How you feeling?
Almost there, almost Friday. So feeling good. A lot to get into today. Sad night last night wasn't our night, and Team USA lost, but that means a bounce back. But overall, I'm feeling good.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, it was a sad night. One of the worst nights of college basketball postseason for me. But you know what? The last two times I came on the show, I was coming off a sweep, and I didn't do so hot that day. So maybe coming off a bad day, it'll flip now, and I'll have a great day, which is what I think will happen. So that's what we're hoping for.
Hmm.
All right, I love the spirit. Well, speaking of Team USA, before we actually speak about Team USA, let's get into your betting recap from yesterday, Matt. Let's take a look. I'm not saying anything. I
That's
just
not nice. Yeah, I know you. Yeah,
come on.
you got all excited. Now,
Wanted
yeah, well, Oklahoma State just they didn't cover all game. Actually, I didn't watch the game because I was watching the USA Japan game, but I was watching it on my phone, checking the scores, and not once did they cover four. So that wasn't even it couldn't even upset me because they were never there. They were winning 2-0 at one point. We'll take that. The game went to overtime, and unfortunately, that's why Krabs lost the under. So that was tough. That should have won. It ended up sneaking into OT, and as we know, if you go to overtime, you typically cannot cash an under. Although it barely went over even in overtime, which shows you how good of a read that was. So bad luck for Krabs, bad bet by me, but we're back with some winners today. We'll regroup from that.
all
Yeah,
right.
so I actually had the North Texas team total under 59, and it
That's
was
pretty bad.
55 going into overtime. And it only went to overtime. Asbury got to the line. He got a foul on the last possession, and he missed both free throws. And that's why it ended up going to overtime. So it was tough. It was tough.
That's yeah, that's some bad luck. That's bad. That's betting, right? I mean, maybe
That's
tonight
betting.
you get a good beat, and everything goes back to normal. But yeah, definitely big bounce back day. That's why we're doing a ladder pick today because I feel like we're due for a win
Oh,
after.
okay.
Uh,
I like it.
yeah, a little build up there. So that's why we're gonna do that.
Well, we'll keep your ladder pick for the end of the show. That way we build the suspense there. I'm very excited to see what you come up with. But
Good
let's
deal.
talk about this World Baseball Classic tournament. Team USA lost 3-2. They did not get their back-to-back wins like they wanted to. Team Japan is still the only team in this tournament that has multiple wins, which is a fun fact. Murakami had another home run. Shout out to the Tokyo Swallows. I mean, if you guys like to bet baseball, you know about the Tokyo Swallows. And
Yes.
then, of course, there's Otani and Mike Trout showdown at the bottom of the ninth. Otani struck out Trout on full count. Guys, what did you think of the game?
I don't know. You can't score 2 runs with that lineup. And I just want to point out the only 2 runs were scored by Phillies. Trey Turner home run, Kyle Schwarber home run. So it was basically Phillies 2, Japan 3. They just didn't come through. What were they, like 0 for 8, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position? They had so many chances.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to break through in the inning where they had McNeil walked and then Betts had the single. That looked like the inning that they could kind of explode, but then Trout strikes out and Goldschmidt rolls over for a double play. Just kind of, I don't want to say bad luck, but they just didn't come through in clutch times. They pitched pretty well, honestly. I thought if you told me they were going to give up 3 runs before the game, I'd say they definitely win because that was their weakness, right? They didn't really have a great staff. I mean, sending out Merrill Kelly in a must-win championship game, that doesn't look great, right? He struggled, but everyone else looked pretty good. Freeland made the one mistake. Obviously, they knocked it out of the park, but outside of Kelly, their pitchers, they held it down, honestly. I thought the pitching was really good. Fun game, though, and obviously at the end, Otani Trout. I mean, who doesn't love that as a baseball fan? That was awesome. I thought the support overall of the World Baseball Classic was great to see. I think it was the most viewed it's ever been. I saw another stat. I love the Japan TV stats. Last night, it was like 98% of televisions in Japan were watching the game. Like, that's insane. That wouldn't not that wouldn't happen here, but obviously it was a big deal to Japan and overall in the world it was great.
Yeah, it's funny. Japan's win over Korea in this tournament was actually had more viewers than any World Series game ever, which is absolutely
Insane. Yes, but that's what I'm saying. It was going to be the most watched game ever.
I'm curious to see what those numbers look like when I look them up later. But before we get into college basketball, Matt, I know you got a good promo coming up for all of our viewers. Let's see what we got here.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna do. We're gonna do $500, and you're gonna get a free. And you're gonna get some free VIP. So here's how it works. $500 is gonna be given to someone who joins this. It's really simple to enter. Listen, I have to say this. I've tweeted this out a few times. Please don't comment in your email. Just put your email into the link. It's very easy to do. But someone who does this will get the $500. What you're also going to get, and I think this is the better part, you're going to get my full VIP card. You're going to get Krabs' full card for the night, and then you get to watch the games with us. This is tomorrow night, right? So it's a VIP live betting simulcast. Now, this is only on YouTube. I know most of you guys watch this through Twitter. We do have a lot of people that watch it on YouTube as well, but most people are on Twitter. Make sure you get over to the YouTube. It's at OddsChecker US. It's very easy to do. Click the link and then sign up to receive the stream, and then obviously the chance to win $500. So someone's getting $500. Everybody's getting these free VIP plays. I think it's a pretty good deal, guys. I mean, I would do it. It takes just a few seconds to enter. All you have to do is go over to the page. You can do it on my Twitter as well. It's been pinned. I mean, if you need to scroll through, but if you need it, shoot me a message. But make sure you guys sign up for that for sure.
All right, well, that sounds good.
Sounds fun.
Let's head over to our Sweet 16 matchups. Now, Matt, I know you've talked about this on the show already, but I was curious what Ben is looking towards in this game.
Get it, Ben.
Yeah, there's a few I like on here. I like Arkansas a lot. I know that UConn has Sonogo, but pretty much all their points come from him. I like that Arkansas team, just the way that they spread the ball a bit more. I think they have more scorers they can rely on. Everyone's looking good. Even Jordan Walsh is looking good, who you wouldn't really think is like their main guy. But Nick Smith, he's obviously looked good since he's come back. Maybe future lottery pick, what I think. One of the best freshmen probably behind Brandon Miller. They just have a good team. They're well coached by Eric Musselman, who was awesome. If you didn't see when they beat Kansas, he like took off his shirt and was throwing it over his head. Like he just plays with such passion. I know his players love him. I like them a lot here, getting 3.5. Even if they don't win outright, they could cover that 3.5. We've seen one possession games all over the tournament. So I love getting the points there. If not, you want to take them a little bit outright. I do like Tennessee a lot too. That FAU run, I think, will be over. That Tennessee defense, they lock everything down. They have length underneath. Like, it's going to be really tough for FAU to pull this off. They had some somewhat favorable matchups in their last two games, and I just think this is a really tough team to go up against here. So I do like Tennessee to cover. I like UCLA. That's probably my favorite pick of the Sweet 16. I know that you were high on Gonzaga. I actually was coming into the tournament too. I think this is the year that they could do it just because the pressure's off their shoulders. They weren't kind of expected to win it outright. But this is a really tough UCLA team. I know they're playing without Jalen Clark. Like, they have a few defensive pieces out. I get that. But they still have Jamie Jaquez. They have a really solid, well-balanced team. Like, they're winning my bracket, so of course I have to pick them here. But I do think that they get past UCLA, or they get past Gonzaga, just because they have the better defense. I think at a certain point, you're going to see this Gonzaga team lose time and time again just because of their defense. Like Mark Few, we know he can coach an offense. They always have one of the best offenses, but it seems like defense is usually what loses them in the tournament. And UCLA, they're ranked second in defensive efficiency, and they still have a pretty good offense to go with it. So I just think that this is a tough game for Gonzaga. UCLA will be able to control the tempo of the game. They play a little bit slower, and they're going to end up covering that 2.5. So those are my three best bets probably for the Sweet 16.
I think we should talk about the games tomorrow too, because I mean we're only a little over 24 hours away, right? I mean we've had to kind of suffer through these last 3 days. Sometimes these are the hardest 3 days of the season because you get used to just watching college basketball all day during the day, all night. You got everything, and then you kind of got to take a break. But this Michigan State Kansas State game, I think this is going to be one of the best games of the first round. I mean, according to the spreads, it's expected obviously to be the closest game, but I mean, the guard playing this game, Marquise Noel going against Tyson Walker, who's really come along the last, few months. I mean, he's elevated his game to a different level. Also, AJ Hogarth, he's stepped up for Michigan State. I love the Spartans in this game. I know Krabs has took a future on them to win a national championship. I actually think that value is really good with kind of their path, the way that they could match up, somewhat favorable. Kansas State's a really good team. The issue for them, and we've talked about this, is going to be on the glass. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete when it comes to rebounding the basketball. They're a little bit undersized. Michigan State has two good bigs that they could throw at you. So I like Sparty in that game. I think that's going to be a heck of a game, though. 1.5 point spread. We still have Kansas State open as a favorite. The line is flipped. back in the direction of Michigan State. But I think that game of all the games could be the best one, and we get that early tomorrow too. So we don't have to wait that much longer, guys. Just have to make it through one more day. That game's at 6:30 Eastern time, so that's not bad. That's not a bad time for a game. Just get the day kicked off. Although I do want to say to the people who make the schedule, they had to do a little bit better. I think we should have put the game at like 4 o'clock, right? Just hear me out.
Yeah.
You do like 4 o'clock. Like, let every game have their own viewing, because this is a little condensed. Like, it's like a 6 o'clock or 6:30, then 7:30, and then it's like 9:30. So not everyone has 2 TVs, right? I mean, some people only have 1. So I think we should have done a little bit better scheduling these games. Spread them out. Let the kids play during the day. They're not going to class right now. It's March Madness. I mean, so what's their excuse?
During March Madness.
They're not going to class during March Madness. I don't think they are.
Christian kids might be going to class during March Madness.
That is true. Nigel did point that out. Some people do have day jobs. But what I would say, if you have a day job, tell your boss it's time to take a day off, right?
It's
or
the Sweet 16.
Yes. Watch it at the office. Watch it in school. Everyone in school, we used to watch it. 4:30, I think we can do. I think we can make that work. Maybe 5 o'clock, but that's probably why. And then that Arkansas-UConn game, also to touch on that, I think we were just talking about best games of the tournament. So originally, you guys know this, I had Arkansas in my Elite Eight. I got scared. People call me dumb. They call me names, and I put Kansas over it. So I let them get in my head, guys. Are you calling me dumb, Melissa? So I'm
I don't know how that's different from any other day in your life.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. See, I've been called a lot of names, but this one hurts because I had it ready. You know what I mean? I had this ready to go. It was done in my head. I was like, Arkansas's making a run. We know how good they are, but then I got scared. I got scared off by the Twitter trolls, and I picked Kansas. But anyway, I'm gonna fade Arkansas now. So now I'm back to fading them once again. I'm gonna take UConn in this game. Yeah. I don't know if they have someone who can bang with Snogo down there, Ben. I don't know. We'll see. They're a young team. They're good, but UConn's hot. I think UConn's playing with a lot of momentum. Obviously, Arkansas is too, but I don't know. I like UConn in that game to get it done.
You don't like Mekhi Mitchell to shut down Snogo?
No, I don't think so.
He's a pretty good defender.
A little too young. I don't know. Snogo's got that experience. I think they sneak past them, but at 3.5, it's not a big spread. So I mean, they could be tied all game, then they foul into a cover. But I think that'll be a really good game. What other game? Is Gonzaga UCLA tomorrow? No, wait. It is. Oh, man.
Yeah, that should be a pretty good game. I think that's the night game too. Yeah.
You're UCLA.
Little nightcap there.
That's your you're all in on UCLA. That's your national champ.
I haven't maxed it yet, but I'll probably put 2 units on UCLA. There's a reason I have them winning my bracket. Obviously, I had them going through Gonzaga before the tournament started, and they've looked pretty good. Like, I know that they haven't had necessarily like the toughest matchups, but that Northwestern game, like, they did have to bear down a little bit. They looked pretty good. And Gonzaga had to get past TCU, but I mean, I'm mad at Gonzaga right now because they just let that last 3 go in. So I'm a little mad at them right now, so I'm going to fade them anyway because of that. Because, I mean, that was a pretty close game, like near the end there, before they kind of pulled away. So it was a good game. But, yeah, I just think UCLA is more well-rounded. So I do think Houston is on upset alert. So, actually, before the tournament started, I said Houston is going to get out either in this – well, I said to Iowa, but then Iowa didn't end up winning. I said if they don't lose to Iowa, they're going to end up losing to Miami. And then a bunch of people told me that Drake was going to beat Miami. But here we are, Miami-Houston. Before the tournament, I said Houston will lose to Miami before the first round even started. So it's coming. So I'm playing Miami plus 7.5. I might look at the money line just because I get that Jim Larinaga is just like built for March. It seems like, yeah, maybe defensively Miami won't be in this game, but last year it was kind of the same thing. They didn't have a good defense, and they just were like rolling past with their offense. They made a great run. Lost to Kansas, who ended up winning the tournament, and now they're kind of in the same spot this season. Few wins. Now they're facing up against the 1 seed, who everyone kind of expects to win the tournament. I like them to get it done just with their really hot offense. Like, all their young players that they had last year are getting they're a year older now. They have the experience from last season. Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack. Like, they have a bunch of guys that just like have the experience to win this game. So I like Miami.
I do like Miami. I want to touch back on that Gonzaga game, though, because we're opposite there because Gonzaga is my national champ. I don't know who's – all right, here's the thing with UCLA, right? they don't have a big, in my opinion, that's going to be able to stop Timmy because all their bigs foul. Like I think they're going to foul out by the second half. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Timmy. I mean, nobody draws more fouls than him. UCLA also offensively, I don't know if they can keep pace. I mean, you mentioned Jaime Jaquez and obviously Tiger Campbell. They got some experience, but like watching that Gonzaga game. See, I didn't get to watch a lot of games this weekend, guys. So I went to the games in Orlando, but then I got dragged into doing like Magic all day. So I'm on like the Winnie the Pooh like spinning cups while I'm sweating out these bets. You know what I mean? So it was yeah, it was hard for me to watch these games, but I was able to catch the UCLA game or Gonzaga game because it was late, and I was able to watch the end of that. But that game was just in the second half. I just felt you mentioned it was a close game, Ben, but the second half I felt like Gonzaga had complete control. Like it didn't feel like they were ever going to lose in the second half of the game. Once they get going offensively, I don't know if there's anyone better right now in the country. And I think that's headline because, Drew Timme is the best, in the ping right now in the conference. So we'll see if they can keep pace. I think Gonzaga at plus money though. I'm not passing that up. But I did forget for some reason I thought that was Friday. Now I'm nervous. I hate when my national champ can be gone because 2 of my Final Four teams are gone. So I need Gonzaga to win.
I will say this. As far as like offensively, defensively, you said you don't know if they can keep up. The only team the entire season who beat Maryland at home was UCLA, and Maryland only scored 60 points in that game. Now, I know we're talking about a game way back in December, so like it's not super applicable now, and they had Jalen Clark. Like I understand that's a different scenario, but you're talking about the only team who went into Maryland, into College Park, and beat Maryland at home because Maryland was like super hot at home. And not only beat them, they blew them out. And Maryland, a really good offensive team, only put up 60 points. So like that's how suffocating. That's just like for me to say how suffocating their defense is. Like they can shut basically anyone down. So I do like them to control the pace of the game.
Their defense is definitely very good. It comes down to who's going to establish their pace, right? And it's kind of just, you think UCLA, I think Gonzaga will. But we'll see. I think that'll be a good one. Real quick, though, before we turn the page to our best bets, just so we can say we did all these bets or games today because you guys won't be here tomorrow. FAU against Tennessee. So want to point out, these lines are from FanDuel, right? On DraftKings, this line's 5.5. So just like I know books, obviously vary with lines. That's why we got OddsChecker here to show you guys the best lines. But if you like Tennessee, get to FanDuel because I'm surprised this line's still 4.5 there. It did open 5.5. I believe on FanDuel it opened 5.5 as well. But yeah, I'm surprised the line's this short. I watched that Tennessee Duke game. Tennessee is just so physical. Like they're just men playing boys. I think their big man, what's his name? Plasic. I think he's 29. Like Vescovi's like 25. Like their team's like, I think their starters have a combined age of like 170. Like they're just very old men, and they play like it. They kind of just play their bully ball style of play, and they're defensively. I mean, you talk about suffocating with UCLA, Ben. Tennessee just gives you no room to breathe, and that was against Duke. I think if you could shut down Duke, who was the hottest team in the nation, and with no disrespect to FAU's also had a pretty easy path here. I mean, the refs kind of helped them out against Memphis, and then they beat Fairleigh Dickinson. Like, they haven't really done much this year. They also didn't really play anyone during the regular season. This will be their toughest game of the year, in my opinion. And I think playing your toughest team of the season at this stage is really tough to just go out there and adjust. So this is going to be a max play for me. Ben, you talked about those 2 unit plays on UCLA. I'm all in on Tennessee. I'm hitting them first half. I'll hit them full game. I think they blow them out in this game. I'm really surprised this line's so short. I get it that FAU's been able to. I guess it's the largest line of the day. Friday we get some big lines, guys. Look at those lines. Closest line's 4.5. So I guess we're expecting some close games tomorrow, and then Friday a lot of heavy favorites. But yeah, that Tennessee game is going to be interesting. I just don't see how FAU physically matches up with Tennessee. They're just bigger, stronger, better athletes. I just don't think they'll be able to compete in that game.
Yeah, and like FAU, like I was saying earlier, they kind of had, when you look at their schedule to get here, Memphis was a good matchup for them because they were able to like get out and run with them and kind of make it like super close at the end just because the tempo was up. And then they got FDU, who was the second 16 seed to ever win, and a 16 seed has never made the Sweet 16. So I mean, like they got two decent matchups, and now they're playing Tennessee, who is not a good matchup for them, like, at all. And Tennessee, like, really proved themselves in that Duke game, I feel like, because everyone had Duke, it seemed like. Like, everyone was super high on Duke, and then Tennessee was like, no, you're only going to score 52 points. Like, they only let them get 50. Yeah, I mean, like, they shut them down. So, I mean, yeah, their defense is just scary. Scarier than UCLA's.
We didn't get a real comment because our comments are still broken. It's not our fault, guys. It's Twitter's fault. But we're not going to blame ourselves. This is all on Twitter. So let's talk about. Someone asked about that Princeton Creighton game real quick. What do you guys think? 10 points there for Princeton, doesn't it? I mean, they've kind of rolled through. They knocked off Arizona. They completely controlled that Missouri game. Obviously, Creighton's a much better team. In my opinion, they're much better. Did Ben freeze? Looks like he froze.
I think we're all frozen.
Oh, okay. It's not us. It's just I thought Ben froze on the line. I didn't realize we all like kind of froze, but sometimes it just does that. We're not actually frozen. But I'm not. I'm back in Princeton again. So originally I said Creighton's going to blow them out. Then I kind of sat down and I thought about it, and I was just like, this might be a team of destiny. So I think we see Princeton win and Miami win. All right. So those are the two. I think we see some upsets here. I think we see a 15. Has a 15 ever made the Elite Eight? Does anyone know? I'll say no.
Didn't St. Peter's was Sweet 16, right? Did they get knocked out in the Sweet 16? Can't remember if they made the Elite Eight or not.
No, they lost in the Sweet 16, right?
Yeah, that's right. So no, I don't think so. I mean, not to my knowledge.
No. All right, so Princeton is going to be the dog of the day. They're gonna get to the Elite Eight, and then who plays first, Miami or Houston, or Miami or Princeton? Let me say. Whoever plays. So it's going to go. So all right. So Miami plays at 7:15. They'll win, and then Princeton wins too. So there's the two dogs. Alabama's going to win. They'll keep going. Alabama's kind of had an easy path. I hate to say it. Like they had now, like no disrespect to San Diego State, but I mean they're not great. Like they are what they are. I think Alabama kills them in that game. But yeah, so I think they win that. But
the thing,
it's done.
All I was gonna say about Princeton is the thing that surprises me is like I was watching like I watched the game actually, the one against Missouri, but like all the highlights where these 3-pointers made, like they haven't even been super hot from three. When they beat Arizona, they only shot 16% from three. They shot 4 for 25, and then when they played Missouri, they only shot 12 for 33. They were 36%, which is like decent, but it's not like they were like shooting 50% from three. Like, yeah, they're making open shots and stuff, but I wouldn't even say they're like shooting above their means necessarily. They're just playing well. It's not even like they're just relying on these crazy shots that they've been hitting. And not the Arizona game, but the Missouri game was a blowout, and they weren't even shooting like crazy numbers. They were still around their season averages. So it's like they haven't really been playing above usual expectations. I think they're just playing good basketball. So like, yeah, plus 10 is good here. I would agree on that. Obviously, I think Creighton wins. I have them beating Bama in the next round. Yeah, I wouldn't hate the points here.
Okay, that's bold. Yeah, well, I think we should be able to like redo a bracket. Like, I think they should. Here you guys go. Here's a new Sweet 16 bracket, and then see who wins. I mean, if you still win that, it's still. Do you think if they let people do it from the Sweet 16 on, we would see a perfect bracket?
Yeah, I think so.
Higher chance.
I mean, yeah, I would, because like people just fill out like 20 brackets, and then like they would be able to like mathematically find a way to
just do every scenario.
Every scenario, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you would have to have a lot of time on your hands, but you'd probably be famous.
If you band together with your friends, you might not.
Could do it. Yeah, oh, that's a good point. Yeah, hire more people. Let's do this together. Yeah, let's make it a team effort. I kind of like that. So, a lot of games tomorrow, guys. It feels good. It's kind of like I needed that break on Monday because even though, again, I didn't watch most of the games this week, unfortunately. But I still mentally needed the break because, like, you're betting on every game. Let me tell you, it's bad when you're in, like, Disney parks and the way you're getting it's, like, loading it on ESPN because it's also the slowest app ever, and you're just dying, like, is my team covering? Is my team not covering? So I'm very excited to be able to just watch it in front of my TV this week. But, no, it'll be fun to see who comes out with the wins. But back to work tomorrow, guys. We do not have much time.
Back to work. With that being said, I am going to take a chance and bet against you and Krabs and take Kansas State at MSG. We got like 4 New Yorkers in the Garden. So Marquise Noel, and there's like 3 others. So
Well,
we'll see what happens.
Marquise Noel kind of is like a cool story. Did you see? So I guess he's from New York.
I not have said that. We should have. We should have.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm in trouble. Well, I guess he's from there, right? And he went to school and he like hasn't gone back because he was like, I'm working on my game. So I mean, this guy's all about ball. But now it's his return. He's gonna have a lot of supporters there. So yeah,
And
he's
a lot of doubters. So we'll see. I mean,
That's
Calipari,
good.
Coach
Mhm.
Sean Calipari was not impressed.
Yeah, I think he called him like a short man or something or short guy, but apparently they made it up. They made up. Yeah. Noel tweeted out yesterday that they have talked, and yes, he's not making fun of him for being short anymore. You can't really call him short when he torches you. I mean, he was the reason they won. Even if he's short, he still got it done. But no, he's a good story. He's easy to root for. So I don't hate the pick, Melissa. I mean, it's probably going to lose because I'm on Michigan State. I'm confident. But how about this? You take their spread, and Michigan State wins by 1. Let's do that.
I'm down. If you're down, I do have a little bit of a future on them, like a half a unit. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Before we head into our best bets, let's really quickly. We got a couple of NIT games tonight. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you both are betting one of these games for your best bet. But any other thoughts before we head into that?
So Ben, let's do this. I'll talk about the game that you're betting, and then you talk about the game I'm betting. So then we don't give away our bets. All right. So one of these will be a ladder pick. I'm just telling you guys this, and then one of them is going to be Ben's best bet. So we get Cincy versus Utah Valley. Utah Valley is a favorite here, Ben. That's a little weird, right? We know Cincy, Power Conference school, a little bit of a down year for them, but still decent season. I would go Utah Valley here if I had to, just because of the way the line looks. And this is a sneakily good team. I bet most people watching this don't know Utah Valley. I don't know much about Utah Valley either, but I know the numbers, and I will back Utah Valley there with confidence. So I think that's a good bet tonight. If you want some action, get some NIT action, right? I mean, why not? Like people out there, it's fun, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's just basketball. Like we were at the beginning of the year, we were betting on all these random tournaments in wherever. I mean, we bet on a game played on a boat. I think Gonzaga played someone on a boat this year. We bet on that. We can bet on this. So let's not get too picky here. So I think that I think Utah Valley is a good bet tonight.
By the way, that airship game was against Michigan State, only a 1-point game. So, and did they have Malik Hall? I think they did have Malik Hall in that game, actually.
Who won that game?
Gonzaga won by 1 point.
Okay,
I believe, if I remember correctly, they only won by 1 point. It was super close the whole time. But granted, that was on a boat, different conditions. So,
so wait, real quick before you give your breakdown on that. Next year's boat game, take the under. I did it this year, and people forget it's on a boat. So like the balls is like like it's your float. It's not whatever, but there's wind. Like the under's gonna hit. I hate to tell you, the over's not hitting on a boat. So next season, and Gonzaga for some reason always plays on the boat too. I don't know what their thing is, but they love playing on the boat. Even if it's Gonzaga on the boat, take the under. It's going to hit. This is a year ahead, so I'm giving you a bet a year in advance, which is nice of me. But
only the most committed cappers would give you a year.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm taking no days off. I'm thinking ahead to the boat ship game while we're in March Madness. That's dedication.
Yeah. I actually had the over in the boat game, by the way. I do remember that game very well because I had the over.
That's not smart.
They were not making anything, and I think part of it too is because it got dark, and so I think part of it too is you had to like look up at a dark background when you're shooting, and I think that messed with like their vision or something a little bit because a lot of their shots just looked bad. So I don't know.
That's what I mean. You try to go out on a boat and cover an over. It's not easy. I'm telling you that it is not an easy task. Every year from now on, just remember this: boat game unders. It's that easy.
Boat game unders. All right, well, without completely trying to give away your pick, I'm just going to say I like Vanderbilt a lot, and they were going to be my pick of the day just because I really like them in this game. Sometimes you see with the NIT like a motivation problem, which I think is kind of what Oklahoma State ran into last night, just because like North Texas looked like they wanted that game more. I tweeted about it. I said, like, watching the first half, you could tell that North Texas just wanted to win more. And so I think that might be an angle that some people take with like Vanderbilt here, but I actually don't think so just because they've been so hot in March. Like they have 2 losses now in March, and it was to LSU and Texas A&M. Like they didn't look good to start the season. They started 3-6 in conference play, but they actually ended the season 12-2, and they had wins against like Tennessee, Kentucky. They beat Kentucky again then in the conference tournament, and they just had a pretty impressive win over Michigan. I know Michigan was playing without like Buffkin, and I don't think Jet Howard played either. But without Liam Robbins, who was like their big 7-foot guy, I was like, I don't know how they're going to stop Dickinson. And they didn't really, but they still ended up winning. They ended up pulling it out. They came from behind like super late in the game. And they ended up actually looking pretty good in that game. They have a good offense. I know they don't have such like a great defense, but without Robbins, I expect this team to struggle a lot more than they actually have been. And they've actually looked pretty good. So like I know UAB, they've looked pretty good too. They beat North Texas in their conference tournament, but they didn't get the at-large. They lost to Florida Atlantic. But they've had a pretty easy schedule to get here. They beat Southern Miss and Moorhead at home, and now they have to travel on the road to Vandy. And the Vandy crowd has actually been pretty good. Like they've gotten to play both games at home in the NIT, which is another really fun thing about the NIT. They get to actually play like home games, which is nice. You get the crowd, and the crowd's been into it. So I like Vandy here at home. I understand that UAB has the higher net ranking, like they look like the better team on paper, but Vandy is really hot right now in March, so I like them.
All right, guys. Well, then with that being said, let's get right into it. Our best bets of the day. Well, actually, Ben, you can continue your role.
I'll continue. I like Utah Valley. I'm really glad that Dead said Utah Valley because of the line, because I also agree. I think that the line says Utah Valley. And surprisingly enough, they're actually playing this game at home, and they're coming off 2 road wins. They have not had an easy schedule to get here. They had to beat New Mexico on the road, and then they beat Colorado on the road. Both were double-digit wins. So, like, they're rolling right now. They look really good. But it's not only that. They have a solid defense, and they've looked good all year. They're actually 4th in the nation in 2-point percentage allowed to opponents, and that's because they have, like, a ton of length underneath. They're ranked 37 in length, or in average height, I should say. They have Aziz Bandogo, who is 7 feet tall. That's a fun thing to say. And he's making 61% of shots underneath the basket. Tim Fuller, their other big man, he's shooting 65% underneath the basket. So like when they get in the paint, they're scoring basically like every time. And I don't think Cincy's going to have the size matchup to like really contest that. And Cincy just hasn't been a great team to me. And they're playing on the road here. Fun fact, they are horrible on the road this season. They're 5-6 on the road, but they were 16-3 at home. So super hot road team, or super hot home team, not so hot road team. On the other side, Utah Valley, they were 13-1 at home this season. They only lost 1 game all season at home. So I like Utah Valley here. I think the line says them. And this would be a huge win for them, like to get into the Final Four. And so I like them a lot, Utah Valley.
What seed was Utah Valley in the NIT? Or
they were not? Like really high, 12. It actually doesn't list them here on the thing I'm looking at. But since he's a 4, so they had to have been like one of the highest seeds. I don't actually remember their exact.
I was going to say, because like if I didn't see a seed next to me, there must be like a mess up on like the way they. Because I was like, how's Utah Valley home? I thought Cincy would have been a higher seed, but
yeah, there must be something with. I don't know if it's like who you beat or something, because Cincy actually played Hofstra on the road too. They had to go and play them on the road, so I don't know why they did that, but there must have been something with. I have seen that some teams weren't able to play home games because of like they had the gym rented out for events because they weren't expecting to play in the postseason. So like Cincy's gym is probably rented out for other events, so they can't play games in their home gym. So I think that's probably what it is.
That really sucks.
It does suck. Yeah, like what's going on that's so important that you can't just be like, all right, we have a basketball game. I don't know. That doesn't seem
show or something. I don't know.
It could. That's possible. That's possible. We'll have to see. But no, Utah Valley's going to win tonight. I agree with that.
I love it.
All right, guys. What about you, Matt? You're betting on the other NIT game.
All right. Well, I am. All right. So here we go, guys. We've tried this ladder 3 times now, and we've fallen off every time. One time we got to the top. We got all the way up. It was day 10. I was at the top of the world. My Eagles were in the Super Bowl, and then I just fell off, and it hurt. I was bruised up, but I came back. We made day 6, and then who sold that? Oh, it was Purdue. Thank God Purdue lost in the first round because they sold our ladder. So I'm happy you're out, Purdue. You guys, we're not fans of Purdue. And then the last time we only got to day 2. So we're due to get hotter. Right? Last time was just a quick boom, you're off the ladder. nothing about it. But here we go. We got a ladder pick for day one today. I've been telling you guys the best time to do a ladder is in March Madness. We're gonna win this one. So we're gonna start this thing off. We're gonna go with UCF. So everything Ben said, disregard. All right, Vanderbilt is not winning this game tonight. We're gonna get UAB -1 here at +100. Ben made a lot of good points about Vanderbilt because of how good they've played as of late. The fact that it's at Vanderbilt. All those things, but yet we see UAB as a favorite. I think it's a little shady. I think this is a UAB line here. And the motivation factor, we did see this with Oklahoma State last night. This game means more to UAB than it means to Vanderbilt, in my opinion. I mean, this is a non-power conference. Teams like this, like Utah Valley, UAB, if they win NITs, that's like a big deal, right? That's big for recruiting, big for the program, more money, whatever. They kind of need to win these games more. UAB's played really well in the first 2 rounds. They have beaten the brakes off their first 2 opponents. Double-digit wins with ease. Vanderbilt's obviously going to be a harder opponent to play here, but nonetheless, I think they get it done tonight. I think that they do get a cover here at -1. So we're taking the -1 because it's that plus money. If you want to take just the money line and start doing some math later on, you could do that. But the point here is to get the plus money. So we're going to take them at +100. They have the best player on the floor in Jelly Walker. If this game gets tight late, I feel more confident having UAB than I would be confident having Vanderbilt in this game. So I think UAB gets it done. I think they do. I think they get it done here. -1 tonight. Start us off. Get us going here before we get to the Sweet 16. Then the fun thing is we win this game. We hit a Sweet 16 one tomorrow night, then the next night. Then by the weekend, we're on like day 4, day 5. So just this is a big one. You got to get on the ladder first. And the fun thing, I've never lost a day one ladder, or I did lose one time on the first day. I've never lost a day one ladder twice. So, I don't even know how it feels, but I do know if you lose a day one ladder, it doesn't really hurt that bad because you can get right back on. It hurts way more if you're all the way up and fall than it would hurt falling from the first one. So they're going to get it done, guys. We're going to take them. We're going to do this. Jelly Walker, legacy game tonight for the ladder. Let's win it.
Legacy. All right, I'm excited. Maybe Ben a little less than me, but I'm excited for you, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, Ben comes on telling people everything why I'm going to lose, so that was nice of him. And then I just had to try to say I was going to win. So hopefully, Ben, you lose that pick, with all due respect.
Well, hopefully. My best bet of the day was going to be Vanderbilt, and then I found out we were opposite, and I'm like, well, I can't do that, so I switched. But I hope you win. Yeah, I hope you win.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you.
All right, Matt. Well, you're going to also like this pick. At least I hope you will. I am looking at the 76ers game. They are taking on the Bulls. It's a back-to-back game. They just lost to the Bulls on Monday, but they have won 9 of their last 11 games overall, so that's pretty good. This is our favorite spot in the show. We love a bounce-back spot, kind of like when you go 0-2 on your picks for this morning from yesterday.
It's very sweet of you, Melissa.
Their 8-game win streak was halted by the Bulls on Monday, so they are probably not too happy. It was a double overtime loss as well. And the Bulls have been doing great. They've won 5 of their last 6 games overall. They are looking for a 4th straight victory. So I can see the 76ers wanting to crush them, their hopes and their dreams. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. That's coming in violent, Melissa. Just crush everything they say.
We're going to need Embiid on the floor for the full game, especially in crunch time. We don't know if Harden is available or PJ Tucker just yet, but it's a rematch, and I think they're getting their revenge. The 76ers are also 4-0 at the spread in their last 4 road games. And guess what? The last 6 meetings in Chicago, they were 6-0 at the spread. So I'm feeling like this trend continues on for this one. What do you guys think?
Anytime you bet on my Sixers, you know what I'm going to say. I do think they get it done. Obviously, James Harden playing, we would prefer that, right? But even if he doesn't go tonight, I think they get it done. They did just lose in Philly. I bet against them that night, not on the money line. I had the Bulls spread. But I think the Sixers bounce back tonight. Harden will do everything he can to play. I'll tell you that. They're all in at this point. They're not just taking games off like some of these other teams. And
they want that number 2 seed, so and they want a chip, so
they want the number 2 seed, and they want to. And Joel Embiid wants to win MVP, so they're playing motivated every night. A lot of these teams taking some nights off, and kind of just backing their way into the season. Not the Sixers. They're all in on finishing strong. Real quick, just want a side note, as I do think all 3 of these bets will win. But Nigel did, before we go to the parlay calculator, Nigel, what was the chances of getting a perfect bracket Sweet 16 on? 1 in 33,000. So
that's doable.
yeah, I thought it was way easier. I mean, it's doable, but like I thought it would be a little bit easier. I mean, it still shows you, man, how hard that is. So
I thought it was harder. Or was that because I always like lose my bracket?
no, I think that's not. I think that's still like really hard because I mean, like I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not a math guy, but I feel like it's not that hard to predict. How many games is that? So we get Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, 8,
plus
4, 2,
4 plus
1,
2.
13. Is that
Predict-
right?
It's predicting 13 games, right? I mean, that is really hard, but like that seems more possible than 1 in 33,000, doesn't it? I don't know.
Well, so what's a 13-team parlay?
Oh wow,
What's the odds on that?
that's when it would get spicy. I don't know. That's
Are you said 3-leg parlays here, guys?
yeah, we just do 3-leggers. We don't get that crazy. Not here.
That's 4-leggers when we're feeling adventurous. Speaking of, why don't we head to that to wrap up the show?
Let's do it.
There. All right, guys, we've got a minus 134 and 2 plus 100s. Ben, I'll start with you. If we were to parlay our picks up today, what would we get?
Well, I always go too high, and I always have to go first. So I'm gonna go super low this time, so I don't get underballed. But I'll say plus 555.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
All right. First of all, Ben, when John was here, I always had to go first. He
knows the struggle.
Yeah, so I've been through it. I'm here if you want to talk after the show. I'll say plus 500 is my guess because that's what I tweeted.
I'm gonna say plus 565.
Plus 565. Okay, so we're all hunting this. Oh,
what is it? Oh, yay! I've been on fire lately.
Not really fair. Yeah, I mean, I guess 598. That'll play, right? I mean, that's a pretty good number that we see at 598, and I think there's a really good chance we do this. So on Monday we swept the show. So now and then Tuesday we reverse swept the show. So that might mean on Wednesday we're due for another sweep, right?
I agree.
If you go by Ben's a big trends guy, I think. So if you go by trends, that's where we get to. So so make sure to do that. But yeah, lock these bets in. I think we get
it's a winner. I'm feeling a sweep here.
I am too. And make sure you guys sign up. Make sure you guys sign up for the simulcast before we leave. We don't want them to forget that, guys, because gonna a lot of bangers tomorrow night. I hope you guys are you guys gonna watch? You guys will watch us, right? For a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm also tune in Krabs, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I think Melissa will lie. I trust Ben. I don't think Melissa's gonna actually watch.
I always tune in when I'm not in on like the show.
Oh, you watch every show? Okay, that's nice of you.
No, not every show.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's.
I come to see
not every show. Like what am I?
You in there? Yeah, I feel like
I'll
start commenting when I'm in the group, when I'm in the comments. All right, guys. Well, that is it for our Wednesday show. We will see you guys back on Friday, and Matt will see you guys back tomorrow to see if his ladder challenge won. Until then, happy betting.